Have you ever hugged a tree? Tree hugging therapy is suddenly trending and it's going viral. However, some media outlets have criticized these enthusiastic tree huggers as being naive and reckless. So, is tree hugging really beneficial? Can you just hug any tree without giving it a thought? Today, let's talk about the fascinating world of embrace the healing power of trees.
Welcome to Eat, Play, Heal with Yogi.
In the post-pandemic era, when my long-lost girlfriends and I met, the conversation has shifted towards the physical and mental well-being of our families, especially for those whose elderly family member have had COVID-19 infections. The recovery process can be challenging and exhausting. Some might experience a relapse of pre-existing conditions, making the post-illness period even more draining. Elderly individuals naturally have slower self-healing abilities, and without proactive measures, they may find themselves trapped in the vicious cycle of physical and emotional decline, pulling each other down. So I shared with my girlfriends my grandma's recent recovery experience. My grandma is 93 years old and lives with my uncle. At the beginning of this year, she was hit by the citywide wave and unsurprisingly developed a high fever of 39 degrees, just 2 days after my uncle. At that time, I thought it was still fortunate that there was a time gap between my uncle's high fever and my grandma's, allowing her to take care of my uncle and make him get through the toughest 2 days before she herself started to have a fever, while my uncle had already recovered enough to turn around and take care of my grandma. Then, in May and June, during the peak of the flu season, she developed a fever again for several days. Continuously falling ill, she visibly appeared weak, lost her appetite, and became thin. Everyone in the family was anxious, and we anticipated a slow and challenging recovery process. Due to her diabetes, my grandma didn't dare to eat too much or eat randomly, but she always had a good appetite. She had many instinctive self-care methods that she practices almost every day. Although she didn't understand traditional Chinese medicine that much, she intuitively applied these methods to maintain her health. For example, when she was sitting idle, she would unconsciously massage her scalp with her fingers. While washing her feet, she would diligently massage the soles and toes. And because she needed to monitor her blood sugar, she would prick her fingertips daily. These were all unintentional but consistent with the principles of traditional Chinese medicine. And surprisingly, after these 2 consecutive illnesses, I noticed that my grandma's instinctive actions had increased. Despite the hot weather, my grandma, who was already averse to staying indoors with the air conditioning, started going out to bask in the sun every morning. She would find a sunny spot in the park, take off her shoes and socks, walk barefoot on the hot ground, absorbing the earth's energy and receiving hot therapy for her soles. When she got tired, she would rest by hugging an old tree or lean against it while drinking coffee. My grandma often compared the wrinkles on her face with the bark of the tree, claiming that she and the tree were old buddies, deeply bounded in spirit, getting along intimately and feeling incredibly joyful. Almost every day, she would sunbathe, warm her feet, and hug old trees. She absorbed the essence of nature, the sun, the earth, and the trees. Before long, her complexion improved, her face regained a healthy flush, and she regained her appetite and cravings. As I observe young people these days embracing trees in various states of confusion, unsure if they are doing it right, I can confidently say that my grandma got it right. After telling the story, my girlfriends all exclaimed, "I want to hug trees too!" It seems that tree hugging therapy truly resonates with people and ignites their imagination. So, let me share another tree hugging experience, my own this time. My affinity for tree hugging began years ago when I met a special friend. Back then, I had the privilege of dining at her house, which had a large garden with various trees. She had a difficult childhood, full of ups and downs. During those difficult moments when she lacked parental love and had no one to confide in, she would hug the small trees she grew up with, cry and talk to them. As the trees grew taller and faster, she went from hugging and talking to them to sitting on the tree branches, engaging in conversations. Based on her personal growth experience, she convinced me of the wonders of hugging trees. And she took me to embrace a super thick oak tree that had been struck by lightning, leaving it charred. However, it miraculously regenerated with the spring breeze. When I hugged that tree, I experienced an immediate sense of tranquility. It felt like there were only me and the tree in the world, and our physical presence didn't matter. The flow of energy was strong yet gentle, creating a state of balance. It wasn't about giving or receiving. It was like tuning into the same frequency. The tree remained a tree, and I remained myself, but the balance allowed me to feel a moment of profound peace. Since then, I've embraced trees whenever the opportunity arises, cherishing the connection. However, I have never actively recommended tree hugging therapy to my friends. Perhaps it stems from the sense of reverence for the unknown. I've always believed that hugging a tree shouldn't be taken lightly and that is something one should discover for themselves. If the right moment comes and the right tree appears, the embrace will happen naturally. Recently, I've noticed an increasing number of young people who see tree hugging as a lifesaver. Some even claim that tree hugging is a magical cure-all remedy. In light of this, I wanted to share my own experiences and those of my families, for those who genuinely want to understand and try tree therapy, and for those who possess independent thinking and judgment skills. If you feel the need to embrace the healing power of trees, here are some sincere guidelines for tree hugging from me. Number 1. If you believe in the energy of tree therapy, then also believe that trees, like humans, have different personalities. Some trees may enjoy being hugged, while others may not. Not all tree hollows are meant for sharing secrets. It's impolite to pour out all your sorrows to a tree that doesn't want to listen and can't escape. Number 2, treat a tree that is willing to communicate with you as an equal. Give it a pat on the shoulder, politely greet it, and explain your intentions. Don't just cling to it tightly or monopolize the conversation from the beginning. The communication with a tree relies on intuition. Your gut feeling will tell you if it welcomes your embrace. No one owes anything to anyone. If it is willing to listen, be grateful. If you sense that it doesn't want you to approach after you've greeted it, please refrain from disturbing it further. I've heard that forcing a tree hug has led to bug bites for eager individuals. Number 3, a tree that invites you to hug it might have something to share with you too. Don't approach a tree with the mindset of only taking. It's like a last-minute plea for divine intervention. Since you've embraced it, it may have something to say, so at least listen. Therefore, communication with a tree should be based on equality, not a sense of superiority. Number 4, don't lose sight of the forest for the sake of one tree. This statement has some truth to it in terms of tree hugging. The calming effect of tree hugging can also be influenced by the environment in which the tree resides. According to traditional Chinese medicine, certain environments, like forests with abundance of flourishing trees, provide a harmonious blend of wood energy, moisture, and fragrance. Hugging a tree in a crowded urban area may not yield the same experience. The atmosphere influences the experience, so pay attention to the ambience when embracing a tree. One should avoid embracing trees in deep mountain forests or places with dense shadows and misty water vapors. From the perspective of TCM, one should also consider the timing as well. Hugging a tree in the morning or evening, when the tree itself is excessively moist, can disrupt the balance of wood energy and lead to absorbing excessive dampness, resulting in adverse effects. Therefore, remember to seek trees that grow under the sunlight, within lush vegetation when the sun is shining. Sometimes, even if you wander through a forest with scattered sunlight and don't find a tree to hug, it's okay. Just spending time in such an environment also possesses healing power. And if we're taking a more rational approach, Whether you believe the healing power of tree therapy is within the energy of trees, the projection of your own mind, or simply a temporary escape from the chaos of reality, allowing your mind to empty or concentrate on problem solving, all may be right. Although people who have tried tree hugging cannot clearly explain the principles, their feedback is generally positive. In fact, the original concept of tree therapy was about returning to the natural environment, rather than hugging a particular tree to fulfill wishes. Taking deep breaths in the forest, meditating, and immersing oneself in the environment have proven benefits for reducing stress, improving mood, enhancing mental clarity, lowering blood pressure, and strengthening the immune system. Although choosing which tree to embrace is a largely intuitive process, it is true that some tree species are not ideal for hugging, or when there are too many insects blocking the way, it is best not to persist. Safety first. Ultimately, the essence of tree hugging therapy is to establish a respectful and harmonious connection with the nature. Respect each other, be responsible to nature and yourself. These form the foundation of tree hugging behavior. These are my sincere tree hugging guidelines for now. I hope they serve as a reference for those who genuinely want to try tree therapy. Or if you're just observing the trend, then regarding whether or not to hug a tree and how to do it, there are various opinions available online. I suggest you explore them and make your own judgment on what suits you best. Otherwise, randomly hugging trees without understanding could potentially lead to counterproductive results. As a wise one said, tree therapy also requires knowing your limits. Hugging small trees may not be satisfying, and hugging big trees may be impractical. It's similar to life. No matter how big-hearted you are, you must know your capabilities. Remember, not every tree is meant to be hugged, and safety should always come first. Wishing you all a blissful tree hugging journey.
Join me as we learn how to apply the principles of TCM to our everyday lives and live a happier, healthier life. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.